Okay, so guys, I'm shooting this video on top of what I do as a coding challenge because today I wanted to talk a bit more about choosing Netherlands to study your bachelor or your master's, whether it would be a good choice, bad choice, somewhere in the middle. I'm pretty sure lots of you guys are watching this video because, yeah, you're on the crossroads of choosing this country or somewhere else as an international student. Uh, I cannot talk for everyone, but as a Korean, as a non-EU student who has studied here for more than 3 years, um, I want to talk from my perspective. So what uh, what I believe is a strength and maybe weakness of studying here, and what kind of opportunities that we might have as a non-European student after studying. So, Netherlands in general has, I want to start with the system, the Dutch study system. So basically, if you search in Wikipedia, um, most of the international students who come here are mainly going for HBO or WO. Um, at first, I was really confused as well because we don't have this system in Korea. Um, we only have universities and Uh, vocational studies, where we only study for 2 years. But in the Netherlands, it's divided into three main higher education. So MBO, HBO, and WO. Uh, MBO is like a vocational study, so you really learn how to work with hands. HBO is more pragmatic. They adopt a more pragmatic approach to studying. So what they study it can be applied directly to the job market. And WO is more research based. So people who study at WO, they study at research universities where yeah, they learn how to do research, make papers. The standard university is called WO. And yeah, mm, for non-Europeans, doesn't matter what kind of study you go for. For the bachelor, it's going to range from 9,000 euros, minimum 8,000 to 13,000, 15,000, depending on the study or university that you go to, euros per year. So if you manage to finish your study in 3 years, then you will pay at least 30,000 euros for that duration just for your tuition fee. Uh, and you have to also count the your living expenses. There's also insurance that you as a non-European cannot have the European health card. So um, you either have to use the insurance from your home country, which I really strongly recommend, rather than choosing the the private insurance that some companies offer here to international students. I've used to use one of those, and it easily costs over 40, 50 euros per month, and it doesn't get subsidized by the government like the Dutch basing insurance does. Um, so that 50 euros has to come straight out of your pocket or your parents' pocket. So yeah, there's lots of expenses. So what I wanted to say is living expenses is going to easily top up to 1,000 euros per month. So if you add, let's say, 1,000 euros for 12 months, 12,000 plus the 1,000 euros for the tuition fee, 22,000 per year, 66,000 euros for the whole duration. But we cannot ignore the fact that Dutch universities are really hard, and especially if you go to a technical university, it's hard to finish it within um, the duration, 3 years. I have lots of friends who's doing mechanical engineering, electrical engineerings, and for those kind of subjects, the average duration people finish is 4 years rather than 3 years because they fail a lot. Um, as a Korean, I know that in Korean universities, passing is very easy, and you don't need to put that much effort. Us us Koreans put a lot of effort into going to the university. So when you're in high school, you study 12, 14 hours per day in order to get good grades from this result examination. But Netherlands and most European universities are quite different in that case. So yeah, what I wanted to say is in the Netherlands, as you can see in this grading scale, um, only top 4% gets 9 or more. So that's like really exceptional. And then 12% get an 8. And usually people get around 7, 7.5. As you can see, that's where the distribution lies the highest. And you need to put effort into passing. So um, yeah, there's always people failing and extending their study, unfortunately. And if that happens to a non-European, that will mean extending your study by at least 1 more year, because you always have to, in certain cases, you don't have to pay the full tuition, but most of the times you have to pay full tuition to take an extra course, and that will mean another 22,000 euros on top of 66,000 euros. So that's a whole lot of sum of money. So for bachelor students, what I recommend, if I go back 3 years and then I start my study um, again, although Netherlands top-notch education, it's really recognized all over the world. As you can see, if you search Europe and then Netherlands, yeah, Dutch universities are mostly within top 200 in the world. Mm. Rankings doesn't really matter for Dutch universities because what they provide is standardized by um, this committee or something. I don't remember the name of it. So the quality is regulated. So they're all the same. It's just that I'd assume the research quality and what they make uh, the researchers from those universities and the size of the university also matters in for this ranking and lots of other factors. But yeah, it just shows that Dutch universities have good quality. But the cost of it, if you're not rich, then it's a bit too much. So what I recommend instead, I would recommend to go to Belgium because um, if you really want to go to Europe, especially Western Europe, and you really want to get um, into that job market, because they usually prefer someone from their own country who've done their own education. So as a foreigner, if you have done their education, there's a bigger chance of getting in to the job market than someone who've done um, something from outside the country. And as you can see, Belgium also, I think, is standardized. Their quality is really, really good. KU Leuven, it's like the top leading university in Western Europe, uh, especially in terms of uh, business and yeah. But their costs are regulated by the government. So they're really subsidized by the government. even for the non-European students. So I believe for non-European students, instead of 9,000 bachelor cost, I think it was around 2,000 or 3,000. For European students, it's even less, 250 or to 750. I think for European students in the Netherlands, it's fixed 2,500 euros, which is a lot for European students. But if you see for Belgian university, let's see, consult your tuition fee. I'll just quickly show this academic year, South Korea, bachelor. Okay, usually engineering subjects are a bit more expensive, so let's go for engineering. Uh, yeah, engineering technology. So it's fixed, 7,500. It's not 2,000. It's weird. Yeah, but it's 7,500, which is substantially cheaper than 30,000 um, that I think Eindhoven um, costs. Um, yeah, bachelor in business is, yes. So if you see business is like 2,000 euros, business engineering as well, 2,500. It's just the engineering technology. Yeah, even cheaper. Theology, 1,000, philosophy, 4,000. If you go to masters, because for Netherlands, for Dutch universities, the masters cost for master even doubles. So the lowest I've seen for AI master is about 17,000 at Amsterdam per year. So that's for 2 years, right? But if you see uh, from Belgian University, see 7,500. Business economics, even lesser, 4,000. This is masters, by the way. Electrical engineering, 7,500. I think they had a advanced master in AI. Yeah, 7,500. And it's top-notch quality. So I really recommend if you're a bachelor student and also if you're a master student and if you want to study in English, better to go to Belgium. Cost is uh, not all the factor. It's also the ability to work while you're studying. Because I believe that if you have access to the job market while you're a student, um, you already get experience while you're studying. So you can use that experience to leverage your position when you get a real job um, after your graduation. Some people um, really stand against this kind of policy, like especially the people who's already living in that country. They think foreigners are ruining their job market. But I believe, yeah, pe especially in Western Europe, where um, the rising age is a big problem, I think it's a win-win for both. Although there are lots of political issues right now going on, um, yeah, lots of immigrants, the immigrant policies coming up, far right movement. But I believe if you're paying that much to the country, you should have the right to work as a native, or not just native, as a European, because Europeans don't have um, restrictions to work. And since non-Europeans paid that lump of sum of money, they should at least have um, a bit more access to the job market. But that's just my personal thought. For going back to if you're a student in the Netherlands, you only have 16 hours per week to work. And in order to work, you need to get a work permit on top of your student visa. In most cases, your employer has to apply for. So most of the time, you don't have access to the short-term jobs because who would apply for work permit for you if they need a person for 1 or 2 days? Um, Also, for normal kind of student jobs, they are really reluctant to hire a non-European student, just because they have to go through this process. They also have to wait 2, 3 months um, in order for IND to get. IND is like immigration part of the government to get back to you with the result. So they prefer someone who can work right away. And in that case, you have lesser advantage. So that's really unfortunate. But if you see Belgium or even in Germany, you have a lot more hours that you could work. Um, I think for Belgium, if you get this, I'm not really um, that knowledgeable about the Belgian market for students, but I think within one academic year, it's around 300 something hours. How much hours do you have access to as a non-European student? Yeah, Netherlands is 16 hour. Yeah, so in the summer period, July, September, no limitation of hours on, you can still work with a student employment contract. In October, max 20 hours per week, so that's at least 4 hours more than, yeah, 4 hours. And if you get a work permit, then you're allowed to work more hours. So that's even better, right? Uh, Thirdly, if you're a student in the Netherlands, um, there are sometimes the case where you want to do a um, so extracurricular internship. So it's not part of your curriculum, but you want to do your internship alongside your study. Um, and for some reason, this is restricted to non-European students only. And um, it depends on universities, of course, but the procedure is you get a agreement with the company, and then you have to submit it to the school. You have to get a approval from the school, and complex is really the procedure is really complex. And in certain cases, universities restrict this option to non-European students, saying that they have the right, they should fill up the um, the required EC for the um, the required study year, because all non-European students, even if they complete the binding study advice is the certain number of ECs that you have to complete for the first year. Um, on top of that, you cannot fail more than half of the subjects per year, or else you'll get kicked out of the country. So that's what they say, but even if a person shows the exceptional effort, they will not allow it for some reason in some universities. So um, I don't understand their argument, but that's how it is. So in certain cases, you will miss the opportunity to get valuable experience for an internship. That's sad, but it's a minor thing. Yeah, so those are the three reasons why I recommend to rather go to Belgium or even Germany, where the tuition fee is free. Um, but for Germany, for bachelor students especially, English options are very limited, I believe. Um, yeah, so if eligible, I believe as a non-European, it's best to go to Germany. If you want to go to Western Europe, second is Belgium, and third is Netherlands. Also, Netherlands is decreasing the courses in English um, with their new coming up government, so that's a big disadvantage as well. One good thing about studying in the Netherlands is that you get an orientation visa for 1 year that you could use in order to get full access to the job market. But this is also the same in Germany and Belgium as well. Um, so yeah, as they reduce more English courses and as they reduce the number of jobs available in the job market, because just 3, 4 years ago, there were so many companies that want people in people speaking English, just speaking English, not Dutch. Okay, some might say that as an international, you have to learn um, Dutch because you're studying in our country, not yours. And that's a fair point. But, as a non-European, like from my perspective, working so hard for school, trying not to fail anything, you are having quite a limited amount of time to spend on something else. And sometimes you don't have that much time to really study Dutch. So because that's not the priority. Priority is to study, which you came for. So yeah, of course, if you speak Dutch, you will have access to more parts of the job market. But yeah, if you're doing masters, so if you're coming for a masters in the Netherlands, I would say it's a bit better because, like I said, um, going back to the education system in the Netherlands, if you just do VO, as they called it, um, people see it as a completed education because it's just 3 years. So what people usually do, Dutch people usually do, is doing a VO bachelor and then doing a VO master afterwards to make it 4 years or even five if you're studying engineering. Um, and they will have access to more type of jobs than HPO graduates. But what HPO has on edge to the WO bachelor is that HBO is 4 years and they're more focusing on the real life skills that can be readily used in jobs. Sometimes they have more access to jobs. But like I said, as a non-European student coming all the way here, spending 10,000 euros, 13,000 euros, um, it's a bit, um, it's all about the opportunity cost, right? Because you're spending that much money and you want to have the best. So usually the um, best route is to go for VO Bachelor and then VO Master. But it's not bad, especially if you speak Dutch. Um, most of the time you'll get a job because um, you have the skills already and you do 2 internships during HBO Bachelor, whereas you do one. Um, if you want during the bachelor. You usually do internship during the master. So that's why I recommend coming here for a master, VO master. It's 2 years, sometimes one if you're a business. Um, yeah, that's about it. That's what I wanted to talk about. Um, right now, I'm applying to German universities for my master's. Hopefully, I get in, but until then, I will use my orientation visa um, for 1 year to work if I can find a job. Yeah, and earn some money and save up. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for listening, and if you want to share some ideas of your own, then feel free to in the comments. For a disclaimer, I'm not saying that um, the education system in the Netherlands is bad. It's like the top notch, best of best. It's just that if you're a non-European student, and if you have to think about the cost and opportunity cost, there are better routes, and in terms of the cost and routes that I would have selected if I could go back. So yeah, see you tomorrow for my next coding challenge.